Hello everyone and welcome to the FPL Cougars show. I'm Chris.
I'm Kieran.
And today we are looking ahead to double game week 32. In tonight's show we're going to be having a look at each upcoming game week fixture, looking at potential key players, differentials, probably talking a little bit about captaincy for the double game week coming up. Let's jump straight into our review though of last weekend, game week 31. We both played our wildcards and ended up with quite similar scores.
Yeah, fairly successful in the end. After the Friday and Saturday, it was absolutely shocking. I had like 17 points from 7. I was just like, oh my god, this is going to be absolutely atrocious. But Lingard and Iheanacho to save the day in the end, which was and Holding as well. Did well. So obviously, I played. I had the triple defense from Chelsea. I didn't actually play Rudiger. I played Alonso, and Alonso obviously didn't start. And then they conceded obviously from the one shot Palace had all game, which was obviously horrible. Holding with the 8 points, which was nice. Phillips conceding, annoying, but I guess I should have seen that coming. Lingard, obviously, I was very close to not having Lingard. I was in the last show, I was talking about how I don't think he's ever going to keep it up, and hopefully no one took my advice on that one. He came in well. That punt of Sterling captaincy, should never have bothered with it. Should have just had Son. I would have had close to 65-ish points or something like that, because I probably would have captained Salah, and maybe I would have got into the 70 mark if I'd just gotten Son and not bothered with the punt, because all the other scorers I would have had basically. Salah obviously returning, Iheanacho as well, and then everyone else blanking. So overall, it could have been. Like, if Chelsea kept that clean sheet, it could have been a huge week. And if I didn't do the Sterling thing, as I said, it could have been huge as well. But
still good, though, wasn't it?
Live and learn. I got 58 points overall, 164k to 143k, which was 11k green, so going in the right direction again. I think 130k was the best I've been this season, so I'm around there now.
Nice.
So just need to keep pushing on. Target's still 50k now, so just keep going, hopefully.
Yeah, nice one. I had it, well, like you say, similar wild card. I brought in Son, Jota. I think Jota captain was my main difference to you, really. I also went triple Spurs. I ended up trying to get Goulian as well in ahead of the double game week. Obviously, it was a bit of a shame that he didn't get many points in this game. I think Maguire came off the bench for KDB, who didn't feature at all. I'm worried a bit like unsure on KDB now. I kind of feel like I've got the money to get Salah, so I might just do that this week and just forget about Man City assets towards the end of the season, because I don't know, I feel like they might be focused on the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, Champions League if they get through tonight. So I think De Bruyne could go. So it was alright. I had a green arrow as well. I think went from like 430 to 389. So all in all, quite a good week, and just the captaincy a little bit that let me down. Alright, let's look ahead to game week 32, and you, like when we just had a conversation about this already, I'm pretty set on captaining Son this game week, and obviously he and Kane feature in the first fixture of the weekend away at Everton. You were saying steadfast on Kane, and is that just a gut feeling or form, or
he's going to be owned by basically the whole game. He's going to be triple captained by a lot. He's going to be captained by basically everyone. I think he's going to be close to over 200% EO this week, effective ownership. So, I mean, you can captain Son, fine. He might do fine, but if Kane gets any sort of return and your captain blanks, you're absolutely screwed this week. There's going to be so many triple captains on Kane as well. So his points against your rank, if you don't have him as captain, is going to be horrible, basically. So any return, you'll probably lose about 50k places if you don't have him captain, I'd imagine, something like that. So it's it's just going with the crowd this week, just simple as that. Like I would take a red arrow of like 5,000 rather than like 30, 40, 50,000 if he returns. So I'll just keep him as normal captain. I haven't got played the triple captain. I don't know, a long time ago now. I can't remember on who, but I think it was actually on Kane himself. So
it was.
Yeah, in the 26 double. So I'm just fine with Kane. I'm not going to push the boat out on this one.
No, I think it's probably sensible. I mean, looking at just their performance over the last 6-7 games, if you take it per 90 minutes, Kane comes out on top in terms of shots in the box, big chances. His XG is much higher than Son as well. And I think it is really those two captaincy. I don't think Tottenham's defensive record is warranted for anyone to take like a punt on any of their defenders. So, I mean, the only way, the only way Son comes out on top ahead of Kane is sort of his expected points over the last 6 games on average per 90 minutes. He's on about 6.7, Kane 6.5. So, yeah, if he was to be perhaps a bit more clinical, or the numbers did back it up, then Son looks like marginally the better one. But you're probably right, to be honest. It's maybe not worth the risk. And as we get closer to the deadline, you might see me switch from Son to Kane.
Yeah, we both missed that United Spurs game, but I heard that Son was pretty terrible, and the only thing he actually did was that goal. So I'm not too worried about. Obviously, I am going to get him in, but I'm not too worried about captaincy in terms of him.
Yeah, no, I think it makes sense to have cover. So, will you triple on Spurs then in this one? Are you plan to get rid of any of your other defenders?
Nah. I'm just gonna leave it with the 2 and just. I think Mora could be an okay pick.
Yeah,
I think Lloris, at least I was looking at him on wildcard. I think he could be fine as well. And then Reguilon as well could probably chip in, but the defense has been pretty awful lately. But Everton struggles to score against Brighton. Southampton pretty bad right now, so there could be 2 clean sheets there. You never know. So, but I'm just going to roll with 2.
Yeah, no, I think it makes sense. I think it's a shame, really. I don't think it's kind of slim and difficult pickings in their back line because they see so much rotation and none of their central defenders are really worth much of an interest. So I think like you say, if you want a defender, Lloris is probably the safest.
I mean, I guess I could transfer out Alonso to Reguilon. I mean, that is an option, I suppose.
Yeah.
It'll be for a hit because obviously you need to get some Sterling still, so it's just whether that's worth it. Which I guess it could be, but they do blank in 33, so you've got to take that into consideration.
Definitely, and also I think you've got looking at your back line. You've got a strong one this week, so I think it would be a shame to take a -4 and then Chelsea do pick up a cleaner. In a winnable game. What is there to think about on the Everton side of things? What do you think about Calvert-Lewin's been quiet, isn't he?
Well, he was obviously out last game, injured out of kind of nowhere. Didn't really know where that came from. I think it was a training thing or something, a groin injury. He said he could have played. He did travel, but they did just want to not risk him, basically, I guess, for the double. So, but the only player sort of picking out, I think, is Richarlison at the moment. 7.9 million, 8.7% owned. He had that spree of 4 goals in 4 games from 24 to 26, including the double game week. So that got him a bit of attention as an alternative to DCL or with DCL. But then now, 27 to 31, he's had 4 blanks in a row again, and he's back to being crap. So the good thing is he's had 18 shots, which is third of all strikers, which is obviously quite good. Only 7 on target though, so he's a bit wayward with his finishing. 6 big chances is pretty high for him actually, and I've watched a bit of him play, and he's just missing them for fun. So that could just be big chances, great, but he keeps missing them, so not sure it's going to convert. 4 key passes, 1 big chance created, so XG of 3.15 is pretty high as well. XA 1.12 for a striker, pretty good. So the stats are quite good, but is he worth the risk/investment? I'm not really sure, but I think they've bottled the top 4 as well. So it looks a little bit too late, and they're probably only fighting for Europa League, but do they even want that? Well, we'll see. No,
I think Dean's probably worth mentioning just because he seems to have done quite well. His price is still so high this season at 6.2, but 10 key passes in the last 6 game weeks. I think it's the 4th highest overall behind I think it's tied with Shaw actually, but only behind Zinchenko and Trent. 2 big chances created is fairly high up for a defender. So I think he's not been too bad. But you're right, it almost feels like what are they playing for now until the end of the season? I think they've let too many winnable games slip in this last month and a bit.
Next 4 suck for them, I think. That's Spurs, Arsenal, Villa and West Ham. I think probably all of those teams score against them.
Yeah.
And then I can't see that many goals. I think I said before, I think Calvert-Lewin could be okay for these because I could see him possibly scoring. But if he's not fully fit, then I don't see much hope for Everton, really.
No, agree. All right, should we move on to Sunday? I mean, it's a long game week, this one, isn't it? Oh, sorry, Sunday. Move on to Saturday. It's
stretched.
It is really stretched. So we got Newcastle against West Ham, the early fixture, and then it's a big block until the Wolves game. But should we start on? Who do you fancy starting on Newcastle actually? Because they're showing a bit of fight. Sam Maximan, Wilson came back, and they looked a bit different.
Yeah. So yeah, XG as a team 6.08 with 5 score, which is 4th overall the last 4 weeks, which is for Newcastle is mental. I never expected that to happen. Yeah, St. Maximan 5.1 million, 2.3%. Next 4 weeks or so, probably not a great pick. West Ham, Liverpool, Arsenal, Leicester, Man City, the next 5. But then the last 2 weeks with Sheffield United and Fulham in 37 and 38, pretty good, both at home as well, I think. So that Fulham last game of the season could be a fight for survival between both of them. If one of them wins, one of them stays up. That could be the scenario. So, interested in that. And St. Maximan, you'd imagine it's probably a tight game at that point, but the last 2 games do seem interesting because obviously, he came on for 33 minutes, grabbed 12 points, goals and assists. Looks good when he comes on, doesn't he? So when he's on fire, he looks great. XG as the team is high, so perhaps if Wilson could be a shout for the end of the season if they've got something to play for, as we say. So I don't mind looking at them eventually.
I wonder if
something to consider.
Yeah, I wonder if St. Maximan's going to be one of those players just towards the end of the season. Maybe if Newcastle do. I mean, it looked like maybe a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, that they were going to be in a bit of a fight with Fulham, but Fulham have lost 4 on the bounce now, and that big win for Newcastle, the gap's like 6 points now, which is huge. And I think Newcastle have also got a game in hand on Fulham, so I think they'll probably start to feel a bit confident. So I mean, they could be such differentials towards or between now and the end of the season. So yeah, I don't mind either of them really. What do you think, West Ham? What a big win! I did fancy them against Leicester at the weekend, and obviously Lingard again popping up with some more goals, and I don't know, everything's Jesse Lingard at the moment. They're just doing so well. I mean, they're a point behind Leicester now. I think for point behind 3rd position. 2 wins in a row. Obviously, they've been a bit shaky. They've gone ahead in both the games and conceded goals late, and it happened again with obviously Iheanacho grabbing a couple. But Lingard 48 points in his last, I think it's 5 games. It's just insane numbers.
Yeah, and loads of people bought him last week. Loads of people are buying him again this week because everyone just continues to think he's not gonna keep it up. But I don't know. He's defying the odds and the stats and everything, and Newcastle away, pretty good fixture, isn't it? So, counter-attack against Newcastle seems pretty good again. Bowen seems to help in that counter-attack as well. All sort of fast, fit players. So, I imagine he probably does well again there. I think he could even be captain material. Yeah.
I thought they were going to lose something with Antonio, but you're right. Bowen's made sort of a big difference, and he really stepped up in that Leicester game. And I think Lingard, there's no reason why you shouldn't consider captaining at this point.
Obviously there is still Spurs on double game week, but if you don't want to go there, but Lingard looks okay.
Yeah, no, looking really good. 5 big chances in his last 5 games. Obviously 5 goals as well, and 2 big chances created. He shows he's producing sort of both types of returns. I think he's the 3rd highest scoring player in the last 6 game weeks, and just behind Iheanacho and Kane. So he's really stepped up, and I like to see it. Really, he seems to be playing well, and as a Man United fan, it's good because he can either come back next season and add to the squad, or he can be sold, which wouldn't be the end of the world because United would get some more money and strengthen the position they do need. So, I think this loan has just done him the world of good. So, happy for him. I do quite like West Ham's defenders as well. I noticed Koufal's chipped in with a couple of assists recently. I think he's had 2 in his last 2 games, and I mean they haven't been keeping many clean sheets recently. But I wonder if they'll start to perhaps tighten up as we get to the tail end of the season, because they're just going to be trying to hold on to that Champions League positions for dear life. They've got Chelsea and Liverpool breathing down their necks. I do think there could be some more clean sheets between now and the end of the season for them, and maybe they'll keep Newcastle quiet this weekend.
Yeah, I think after Chelsea in 33, it's a great run again. I wish I sort of kept one of them. I can obviously go from a Chelsea defender straight to them, which is pretty easy. So Burnley, Everton, Brighton, West Brom, Southampton last 5 weeks. So that's pretty good. They look nailed on. Well, maybe not nailed on, but I think Leicester had something similar last year to get the Champions League spots, and they choked it. So, West Ham in the Champions League could happen. Yeah,
I think they've got a great chance. I mean, typically against Everton, who aren't really firing at the moment, Burnley, not great, renowned goal scorers. Brighton can be wasteful. West Brom haven't been scoring many apart from when they're playing Southampton, and obviously then Southampton themselves. So, Yeah, I think there could be. Obviously we missing Cresswell for a bit, and but yeah, Kufal seems to be delivering. So yeah, could be good.
Yep.
All right, should we move on to the evening game? I mean, I don't have a lot to say about this one. Wolves against Sheffield United. Is there anything you want to add on Wolves? Are you happy you didn't get Neto on the wild card? I suppose.
Well, yeah, of course. I think he's out for the season now, isn't he? So
Yeah.
shame for him, obviously. But I mean, hindsight a little bit. The defense, obviously, instant improvement with good fixtures. Yeah, expected. I kind of expected Fulham to score last week, but yeah, they kept a clean sheet. They historically been pretty solid against bad teams. So yeah, Sheffield United this week, Burnley next week, West Brom after that, Brighton after that. Like the four are great. Yeah, so their XGC is 3.91 with only 4 conceded, which is 7th now. So that's the obvious improvement there. But then Traore, just want to mention him. 2 returns in the last 2, hitting form, maybe, question mark.
Yeah.
I mean, 6 million, 5.1%. Obviously, other than those 2 returns, he's only had 2 other returns all season, which is 4 returns out of 31 weeks is obviously pretty awful. So, but his stats, 11 shots, 0 big chances, which isn't great. 8 key passes, 2 big chances created, an XA of 1.21. So the assist side looks fairly promising. He's gonna play all the minutes definitely with Neto out now. So yeah, I think he's possibly worth a punt. Those next 4 are just so good that if he's gonna keep returning, then at 5.1%, he's possibly worth a look. But I'm not going there. He's so inconsistent, obviously. But yeah, if you a Maverick.
Yeah. Moving on to Sheffield United, I really don't think there's a heck of a lot to say. I think the highest point scorer in the last 4 games has got 13 points, and defensively they are by far away the worst team at the minute. So 12 goals conceded in the last 4, 17 big chances conceded in the last 4. You kind of expect a Wolves clean sheet, but I don't know who's going to be scoring the goals from them this weekend. But maybe it is Traore, like you say. But so it's a difficult game from a fantasy point of view. So I don't think there's too many players of high ownership featuring.
Did you see Arsenal's first goal against them?
I didn't actually.
Silky Wenger-esque tipper tapper and just threw the whole defence and whole team and slotted in by Lacazette. So yeah.
Oh, nice.
Probably because it was Sheffield United, but still, very nice goal. Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right. Where are we going? We're going Sunday. 1:30. We've got Arsenal hosting Fulham at the Emirates. Lacazette was someone I just sort of at the last minute dodged on my wildcard, but he had a good performance last time out. Do you think he's still got it in him to have a good run to the end of the season?
Yeah, so 8.3 million, 7.7%. I mean, you just said you possibly was going to include him. I looked at him on the wildcard as well. I think many did, but then they watched him have a stinker in Europe the week before versus Prague, and I think a lot of people didn't even expect he'd start this one. And then the Aubameyang sort of injury, whatever it was, kind of came out after the deadline, so nobody knew that Aubameyang wasn't going to start. So Lacazette then became a great option, which was a shame. So 13 points in that one, 2 goals, 3 bonus, obviously pretty good. XG of 2.99, which is first of all strikers at the moment, which is obviously
nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
5 big chances as well, 3 key passes, 9 big chances created. Well, that can't be right, 9. Might be like, I must have typoed there. But yeah, 13 shots, 4 goals, 1 assist. So yeah, he's generally looking pretty good at the moment, but it's just the rotation issue. And he's Arsenal, I guess, so hot and cold. You never really know which one's going to turn up. But those fixtures are so good. Like the Fulham this week, then Everton, Newcastle, West Brom. Like their fixtures are there for you to pick someone like that. But rotation, that is the issue. I mean, the person that I obviously got onto was Holding, who looks to be rotation prone with sort of Louise out and stuff like that. So and Gabriel isn't getting in the team either at the moment. So yeah, 4.2 million bargain at the moment, 3.9%. Loves bonus. He was
he does, doesn't he?
Quite easily second bonus in a game where it was 3-0. All he got was a clean sheet. He didn't have any XG or XA. There's literally 0 across the board. So I mean, just doing those passes, those interceptions, and doing everything right that you want him to do. So yeah, I'll be playing him again this weekend. Fulham look like they're sort of just waning a little bit at the moment.
Yeah.
So I kind of fancy the Chelsea triple up, but at the same time, Holdings looks right. Arsenal getting a bit more confidence now, so I'll definitely play him this weekend against Fulham at home.
Yeah, I mean, Fulham are way down there. They've only scored 2 goals in their last 4 games, which is the sort of second worst record in the league, so they've not been that active in front of goal. Their XG, I think, is the third lowest as well of all teams in that time. And defensively, they seem to have fallen off as well. I mean, obviously, it coincides with their doing poor results in the league. But yeah, their defence has been much leakier than it was sort of around Christmas time. They've 9 goals conceded in their last 4 games. Second worst record in the league at the moment. So you'd expect that Arsenal do take advantage of that. And it's a shame because I thought they were going to pull themselves out of it. And I think that loss against Wolves on Friday night was such a... Especially happening so late, was such a kick. And then Newcastle must have been so G'd up going into the Burnley game because they kind of feel like if we win this, we pull away from them. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I wonder if their heads will be down a little bit and Arsenal could take advantage in this one.
You could see Scotty Parker's heart just breaking a million pieces as soon as Traore slotted that in. He was just... I think he head banged against the board or the edge of the... sort of technical area. It's just like, oh mate, feels bad.
Yeah, I know. It just must suck because they felt like they had a bit of momentum behind them and they were going to pull out, but they've just, I don't know, hit a rock and they can't get past it. So that's been a shame. All right, Sunday at 4:00, the original old school big kickoff time sees Man United host Burnley at home. I just wanted to say on Fernandes, I was looking at the sort of top 10 overall point scorers in the last 4 game weeks. He's not on there. He's been quiet, and again he blanked in the Tottenham game, despite the fact that United did score a couple goals, and he was quiet. And I don't know. We talked about him last week. You said you haven't got no intention to sell him, but he's definitely been quieter recently.
I think he was a bit unlucky last week. Actually, I think he had a few chances that were just sort of squandered, and he had a few shots that were nicely saved, Lloris. So I think he was a bit unlucky, and I expect, I think he probably knows he's been quiet, and he's just so consistent that this feels like a game that he's going to get a double digit in. So Burnley have been pretty bad lately. So I'm like I've said before, or last week, he's a captaincy potential if you're not going for a Spurs player because Burnley look pretty bad at the moment. So XG as a team 6.05, 6 scored, which is 5th of all teams, which is pretty good. XGC of 2.63 with 2 conceded, which is 2nd of all teams, but they've only actually had 1 clean sheet in the last 4. So I obviously looks like Cafu or something on the sideline at the moment, but not keeping those clean sheets. So I'm kind of glad I didn't go there in the end. And then I want to mention Greenwood, 7 million, 2.2% owned. 7 million is a bit of an awkward price point. He's around that Mount area when you do want a nailed player for 7 million. But 3 returns in the last 2 weeks with only actually 1 start, 3, 6, and 11 the last 3 weeks. I think he scored in Europe as well. But Cavani back obviously did start the last one, and he's hitting a little bit of form as well. So is Greenwood at 7 million worth the benching possible, or a 1-pointer off the bench, because he does seem to come off the bench? So, but his stats are pretty good: 12 shots, 2 big chances, 4 key passes, 2 big chances created, XG of 1.35 and XA of 1.18. So those big chances, key passes, and big chances created are all good, and the shots are high. So he's a pretty selfish player, and just whenever he gets close to the box, he'll try and shoot for himself. So that's kind of what you want in FPL, I suppose. If he can start, or if Cavani gets injured again or something like that, then he will be the main striker for United because Martial's still out. I like him as an option at least, and he's returning at the moment, isn't he? So he is finding some form. Yeah. Didn't you
talk? I mean, talking about Cavani though, didn't you absolutely love his diving header? I mean, how often do we see a diving header goal? I mean, nice. He loves a diving header, and there was like a Cavani compilation on YouTube of diving header goals, and I was just in heaven watching that. I just love something about him just flinging his body at it. But yeah, he was immense, and Greenwood when he came on for his cameo was too. It's a shame that he got crazy priced last season because United had such that good end to the season in Project Restart. I mean, he's only had 5 attacking returns this season, which is probably almost as many as I would have thought he got in Project Restart. So he's definitely not progressed, but as much as maybe he would have thought he would. But yeah, he's shown some form in the last couple of games for sure. And I think Burnley will be here for the taking this time. I got not much to say on them. I suppose if Pope was the big shock to be out injured, I suppose. I don't know yet if we've heard anything if he's likely to be back this weekend, but
I'm not sure. No.
He's obviously really important for them. And Burnley on the road have been poor recently, so that across their last last 3 games, they've actually conceded 8 goals, which is the second worst record in the league. 10 big chances in that time, expected goals conceded in total 6.7. So yeah, they're looking a bit shaky on the road, and I kind of think United are just going to take advantage of them here and put maybe a couple goals past them. And maybe this is a week where, like you say, people look towards Tottenham players for captaincy, but maybe this is the week Bruno comes back.
Yeah.
Who can say? So. Who can say? Yeah, he's on. I think he's on. I mean, I say he's been quiet. He's still had 2 returns in the last 4 games, but for him, that's usually quite paltry. All right. Any more to add on that one?
Nope.
No. All right. So we're going into Monday and Tuesday. We've just got 1 game on each day. So on Monday we've got Leeds. Obviously, just beat Man City last time out. Did you sell Dallas last time or last game week?
I've not owned him. No,
I've not owned him. Oh, okay. I was just thinking of commiserations to everyone that had Dallas last week. Either benched him or sold him ahead of this run because, yeah, to see him do what he did against Man City must have been pretty crushing. And I saw it. I don't know if he tweeted it out or the Leeds account put it out, but he's put out a message saying he'd heard he was the top point scoring defender in fantasy, and why would anyone ever bench him just to keep him in their team all the time? But what about him? I mean, just speaking generally, like last season we had Lundstrom come through from a championship side, probably finished like after Liverpool players, one of the highest scoring defenders. This season we've had another promoted team. The player is now top of the overall defensive standings. I mean, it's mad.
Yep.
It's mad.
Yeah, it's another guy I've just passed me by this whole season. I've never owned him, which I think is a mental. Like Cresswell as well, like 2 of the highest scoring defenders in the game I've just not owned. And top scoring player from a promoted side, like Lundstrom obviously was good, but he didn't manage top scorer. But like being a promoted side and being a fantasy gem, I guess, when he's playing out of position from a promoted side, who's obviously was priced really well at 4.5.
Yeah.
And now only 5.1 million, but he is 23.8% owned now. And it's just, I don't think we've seen a defender do that, be top scorer from a promoted side before. So that's kind of crazy. And 34 onwards, they have a great run. I think Brighton, Tottenham, Burnley is 3 of them I've got down here. But after that, they've got really good green fixtures towards the end of the season as well. So yeah, I think he's worth picking up for sure. If you've got triple defense like me for Chelsea, I think you can sell one of them to Dallas. Makes sense. They're I mean, I guess they're more open against bad teams. I guess they kept a clean sheet against Chelsea, nearly a clean sheet against City, winning games against the top teams. So I think many people still got bench points from him because of Pep himself of City, obviously, with benching Gundogan, Diaz, and Mahrez, Foden, De Bruyne, all that lot. So he's had 4 double-digit hauls this season of 12, 12, 15, and 17. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
9 clean sheets as well. 7 goals, 3 assists from a defender. Pretty good. 7 shots is second behind Alioski of all defenders at the moment. 0 big chances though, 2 key passes and 0 big chances created. So it kind of seems from those stats, it's like, where is his returns coming from? Because there's barely any key passes. There's no big chances created and no big chances himself. So it's like a bit of an oddity, but he keeps doing it just like Cresswell. Obviously has what's it called, set pieces and things, but. Yeah, Dallas. Get him when the fixtures turn again. Yeah, why not?
You had him at you had the decision at the start of the season when you had Ayling, and you were thinking maybe I'll just side do it to Dallas, and it could have been there, and he was like 6.5 or 6.5, 4.6. I mean, and
it was. I got Ayling because I was led to believe that he was more nailed on than Dallas because Dallas is such a journeyman across the pitch that if there's someone whose actual position is there.
Yeah.
Then he will sort of like drop out. That's what I kind of figured. But it never happened. He's played 90 minutes in every single game. He's not missed a minute so far, as far as I can tell.
He's pretty crucial to that lead side. But I think do you think it'd be difficult for them to keep a clean sheet in this one? I mean, Liverpool coming off the back of 3 straight wins, 2 of those clean sheets. Obviously, they're gunning for the top 4. It'll be interesting to see how many Madrid put past them tonight. And their confidence. But what do you think about this game? I mean, Salah's got a goal. It was obviously Yotta's back now, but blanked. I think it was the sort of 3rd time since we've been back in the league, and he's been back 5 games. He's a bit misleading sometimes because you think he's going to be crucial and he can pop up with these big double-digit scores and look like he could be a contender to Salah for captaincy, like I found last weekend, and then you get disappointed.
I did say it was possible. Like I wasn't too keen. I could go without him. I did just get him anyway, but like he is a bit streaky, and yeah, see what he does tonight and see if he continues. But I don't think Marnie's going to be benched again for him, sort of thing. So Marnie's had his rest. Maybe it's Salah's turn to get rested or something. But
maybe.
They're fighting for the top 4, aren't they? Still, so. I think there's goals in this game. I think Leeds can score against City. I think they'll score against Liverpool. They did it in the first game of the season as well. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a tough one for Liverpool to win, honestly. I think it's going to be pretty tight.
Yeah, and I think it'd be difficult. I mean, worth mentioning Phillips again, just for anyone that's not on him yet. So 4.1 million now. He had a price rise since last week. He'd kept, 2 clean sheets in 2 before last game. So, yeah, still some value there. Obviously, you were really annoyed talking about Liverpool defensive assets that Trent banged in a lucky goal at the end of the game and ended up getting a big double-digit 11 points to add to the 12 he got in the previous week, and the 9 the week before that. So Trent's coming back into quite a bit of form, to be honest, with those returns. So he could be someone you're looking at, but I'm not sure how sustainable those returns are, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think there's a clean sheet, but there's certainly possibly attacking returns from this week. Yeah,
and their fixture ticker looks good until the end of the season, so maybe avoid them at your peril. All right, Chelsea host Brighton on the Tuesday. Obviously, you've got one Chelsea defender. You've plucked for Alonso over Rudiger. No chance for you doing double Chelsea defence in.
Well, I've got Mendy already, so I've still got the double.
Oh, you got true.
So it's just Alonso is a 90 minutes or 0 man, as we saw from last week. He's not started tonight either, or yesterday. Sorry, Champions League. So. It leads me to believe that he'll start, and I found, it's Alonso. He can get some attacking returns, and yeah, the defense is still good. Obviously, even though they conceded 62 games, they nearly kept a clean sheet for like literally the last second in Champions League last night, and then so yeah, I'm fairly happy to have the double up, and if the triple up is needed, if anyone misses out, I'm fine with that too. Brighton aren't scoring many goals, didn't score against Everton. They should have done. Classic Everton of Brighton of missing loads of big chances. So, I think Chelsea will manage to keep them out. Although I'm not sure Chelsea can manage to score against them, so I think it might be a tough game already. It could be a 0-0 because Brighton look good defensively. But XG as a team is actually first at the moment for Chelsea, 7.75 with 6 scored, which is obviously a big improvement for them. XGC of 2.98 with 6 conceded, which is 5th. Which is obviously a lot worse than it has been for them. They've been over the top 1 and 2. But yeah, poor to concede to Palace from that, like literally the only shot they ever had in that game. And then conceded 5 to West Brom, obviously a bit unforgivable there. Yeah. And I still obviously went for the triple up. But so Havertz, 8.2 million, 3.1% owned. Games he's played false 9, he's scored 9 and 10-point hauls. So that's probably a sign. Not good on bonus, though. Even with the 2 assists in the game week before, 0 bonus. 1 goal and 1 assist last week, didn't get any bonus points either. So those are good returns, and he's still getting no bonus. So that's awkward, I guess. 9 shots, 3 big chances, 3 key passes, 0 big chances created. They're okay apart from the big chances created, but I guess that's not his role when he's played false 9. XG of 2.21, which is pretty high. Encouraging if he plays in the correct position. I think he could be a real asset, possibly from next season if this formation continues. Possibly Werner off the left, or Pulisic and Ziyech off the right, and Havertz false 9. That seems really good and juicy for fantasy. But yeah, let's just see. But Tuchel, he rotates constantly. Werner's been benched the last 2 games, so nobody's really safe at the moment. So yeah.
No, it's so difficult to predict his team sheet from one game to the next. So you've probably done well to get all bases covered with Rudiger, Alonso, and Mendy. Maybe you get some points off one of them every week. Do you think? I mean, Brighton probably safe now, and maybe they'll be winding down a little bit. That their fixtures between now and the end of the season are quite mixed. After this Chelsea game, they've got a fair run against Sheffield United at home, who everyone seems to be beating at the moment. So Sheffield United away, who you kind of back them to beat there. They got Leeds and Wolves before they close out with 3 teams who are still fighting for things. They got West Ham, Man City, who could be champions by then, and Arsenal. So it's a bit of a mixed end to the season. There's not really most of the season really, apart from when they featured in the blank, that I really want to invest in any of their players. Really, I think clean sheets may be hard to come by apart from that Sheffield United game. So maybe only 1 between now and the end of the season. And attacking wise, they've been so flaky this season. I think Trossard's done well in his last 4 games compared to some of the other players. He's had I think 1 or 2 attacking returns in there, but otherwise, I think it's difficult to suggest any Brighton players for investment, really.
Yeah, I think Veltman's been a decent bench option.
Yeah.
I think if you had him come off the bench this week and you get a surprise clean sheet against Everton, you're really happy. And I was considering Sanchez as my lone keeper for on the wild card, and I kind of wish I did it because he would have scored better than obviously Mendy last week. But shame didn't go for it, but never mind. I think he's a good pick.
Yeah. All right. Wednesday we've got Spurs again against Southampton. We sort of spoke about Spurs a little bit earlier, so I don't know if we need to go over them again too much. I mean, Southampton, the main thing I suppose to say is just how poor they've been defensively, obviously shipping all those goals against West Brom at the weekend. And
shocking.
Yeah, really, really shocking. End up losing 3-0. And their defensive, they can do this. They can just switch off for points in the season and just get absolutely hammered. I mean, and they're going through it at the moment. I think their defensive record is the second worst in the league at the moment, and yeah, it's a shocker. The 15 goals conceded in the last 6 games is more than any other team. Expected goals at 10 points, or expected goals conceded of 10.7 is only second to Sheffield United across the same time, and 17 big chances conceded. So I don't know. It's hard to, like I say, it's hard to work them out, but I'd kind of expect that they concede a few more in this one because what are they fighting for? They're in the middle of the table, and they're probably only going to stay there. Where Spurs have got to go hell for leather to try and get a Champions League spot, which I think is probably out of their reach. But with these 2 games in this week, if they can get 6 points, then who knows what they'll end up at the end of this game. But I think this is why people are... there's like sort of no reason for anyone to go anything other than Spurs this week because they've got such a juicy second fixture at home to Southampton.
Yeah, Hasenhüttl is leading a charmed life. I don't know what else he has to do to get fired now, to be honest, because he's looking pretty... Conceding 3 to West Brom is, again, even though Chelsea did 5, but like conceding 3 after you've seen that performance like from Chelsea, you should expect to study it and learn from it. But it's pretty bad. And obviously West Brom have been awful all season, so two 9-0s in the past like 2 seasons, and then losing to West Brom. It's just pretty bad at the moment. You can only expect to be drummed here, to be honest.
I mean, how they're 14th in the league, they're 2 points worse off than Palace. I mean, I've had the misfortune of watching like Palace highlights this season and being bored, so how they're doing worse than them in the league, I don't know. I mean, Brighton, who were in trouble for months and months, or seem to be, they're only 3 points clear of Brighton, so yeah, maybe if they have a poor end to the season, I don't think they're going to get caught, but they might finish. They
just have a couple of sort of flair players that just get them out of trouble, like Ward-Prowse with his free kicks and he's really good. And then they have Ings and Adams who have done the job. Armstrong is but actually they have a decent team on paper. Armstrong has been pretty good. Redmond's pretty good. Walcott does a job for them. So on paper they should be. It should be top half at least, and then just not working. So,
very poor. All right, let's move on and talk about Aston Villa against Man City, because that's also happening on Wednesday. It feels like it's a bit of an exodus on Man City players because they're featuring in so many competitions, and a lot of people have been playing their wildcards. Obviously, no clean sheet against Leeds, 2 goals conceded, despite the fact they were playing against 10 men for like 45 minutes. They couldn't find a way to get more than just 1 goal. I mean, it feels wrong to criticise Pep, but from a rhythm point of view in the Premier League, I suppose this kind of result or that kind of result of the weekend can happen when you change your team about so often. And it almost felt like some of I hate to say B squad because they're all so good, but like some of the B squad were out. I mean, Zinchenko's playing like midfield. Ferran Torres, who was playing, who doesn't often play. Nathan Ake came in as well. So there's a few players in there who don't play many games, and maybe that was just 1 game too far for them. Do you feel like this is sort of this trend set to continue, and they're going to sort of focus on Carabao Cup, focus on FA Cup, focus on Champions League if they get through until the end of the season?
Yeah, you'd imagine so. I mean, speaking of, they've just conceded to Dortmund as well, so they're not safe in that tie either. And yeah, I think the league is obviously a priority, but it's lesser than to Champions League for sure, because he's gone full strength for Champions League. That's what they really want to win. Yeah. And then Carabao Cup, I guess they could take it or leave it, but it's sort of silverware at the end of the day. So
It's a strange one because
this game feels like a banana skin, doesn't it? Again?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and it almost feels like sometimes that they play so well at the beginning of the season in the league, they almost get a bit complacent by this time when it's like the business end of the season, and probably, I mean, they almost get tipped. It seems like for the treble or the quadruple around January when they're playing amazing football. By the time they get to like March, April, they've almost won the league by such a canter in the last sort of, I don't know, when they've won it in the last across the last 5 years, that they can let slip the Champions League or they can let slip, I don't know, an FA Cup game. They're quite good at winning the Carabao Cup, but yeah, maybe it'll happen again tonight. Anyway, was it Bellingham?
If
who scored?
they do go out, then they will go full strength. You'd imagine.
Yeah, was it Bellingham who scored?
It was Bellingham, yeah.
Bellingham who scored. I feel like he deserves some justice for having that one ruled out last week. He's an exciting talent. I like the look of him a lot.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
All right. Any more?
So
any more
Villa side,
yeah.
Martinez feels like he's probably going to get a clean sheet here, or at least a haul probably. But they're actually see as a team 7.3 with 6 conceded last 4 weeks, which is 19th of all teams. So yeah, their defensive stats have gone way down. Martinez though is obviously still getting points. So you got 4 points last week, even while conceding with loads of saves. So no clean sheet in the last 4 weeks either. But so you'd imagine no clean sheet this week either, but maybe. So Watkins as well, 24.6% owned, keeps ticking along. Two in his last 2 now, 7 and 8 points. But his stats have dropped off significantly because I have mentioned him quite a few times. But not in the top 10 of all strikers for XA, XG, shots, big chances, or big chances created. So that's all of the big stats for what you want in a striker, and he's not in the top 10 for any of them. The only thing he's high on is key passes, which is 5, which is also still not great. So you'd probably keep him because he scored versus Paul, could score versus City.
Yeah,
he's got West Brom and Everton after that. I think you keep him for the next 3 if you've got him, because there isn't that many other strikers to go for at the moment. So, Grealish, who knows where he is now?
I know.
Maybe he comes back soon. But yeah, Watkins not been great lately, but he's
returned.
Still, so yeah.
Yeah, I feel I'm worried about Grealish because I thought he had his name on the team sheet for England, and he's been missing action for so long. Yeah, it's a bit. I'm not sure what's going to happen to him. But you're right about Watkins. His numbers haven't been there, but he's been all right in the last 3 returns in the last 4 games. He's not been doing too badly. 18 returns in your first season in the Premier League isn't bad. 12 goals, 6 assists. That's pretty good. So
you pretty much know if Villa score, he's going to be on. He's scoring or assisting.
Definitely. And if Grealish stays, I think you might sort of next season start to see some of the returns he was getting at the start of the season. So. Yeah, no, I do like Watkins a lot, and maybe next season if he is around 6.5 million, then he could be goer again. All right, the last game of the game week, Leicester host West Brom, resurgent West Brom, if anything, after winning 3-0 against Southampton. And where did they win against the week before? You must know. They won against Chelsea. They put 5 past them. Yeah. They've won by 3 goals in each of their last 2 games. God, it would be a bit of a turnaround if they could finish above Fulham this season after being so far down for all of it. And I mean, their goals conceded is 59 this season.
Oh, they still ridiculous. 6 points behind Fulham, isn't it?
No, just 2 now. There's 2.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, they turned it around big time. Anyway, so yeah, West Brom, we've got them to chit chat about, and Leicester. What's to say on Leicester? Can you fill me in on the gossip? Do you know why Brendan dropped Maddison and what all that kerfuffle's about? For anyone that's missed
apparently they went for a house party or something, so they broke COVID rules.
Oh, okay.
Just on the eve of obviously everything going back to normal, they broke the rules. Yeah, idiots basically.
Right. Okay. Well, understandably,
they've sort of done it before, haven't they? I think Barnes has done it before. I think Maddison might have done it before as well. And, so not good.
Oh yeah, that is poor. Well, deservedly in trouble then. What about their form? And Iheanacho's been good, but they've lost their last 2 in the bounce now.
Obviously, the fixtures are good. So Crystal Palace, West Brom, Southampton, Newcastle. Those 4 are very good. Arguably better than Wolves' 4 games run. But yeah, XG as a team 5.82 with 7 scored, which is 6th, which is okay. XGC of 2.93 with 5 conceded, which is 4th. So they're underperforming their XGC. So yeah, those goals they've conceded lately have been pretty poor, to be honest, and defenders in that sort of 5 wing-back formation, because they were switching positions all the time. Like Castagna had to switch from the left to the right, and then Ricardo went in front of him and all this weird stuff. And I saw Castagna get caught out because they were switching like that, and for one of the goals. Ian Acho, 5.9 million, 10.4% owned. The ownership has crept up, and it's probably going to keep going up. So possibly proof that form exists. Maybe 9, 17, 2, 13 in his last 5, which is obviously really high. Third top scoring player in the last 5 weeks, behind Kane and Lingard on 41 points. There's probably no real excuse to not own him in fantasy at the moment because of his form, his fixtures, and his price. He's got all 3 working for him, so why would you not own him? Stats wise, Nacho versus Vardy the last 4 weeks, they're all in Nacho's favour. I think I mentioned it last week, but shots 12 versus 7, big chances 5 versus 3, XG of 2.68 versus 1.54, goals is 5 versus 0, which is obviously a huge difference. Assists 0 versus 3, and then points 32 versus 17. So Vardy is winning on the XA side of things, but honestly not even by that much. And I guess it's worth considering both of them, but Iheanacho, he's beating him in everything at the moment, and like I said, form, fixtures, price, everything's there for him, so why would you not own him? And
some tidy goals at the weekend as well, showing he can score both really. A good finish when he pounced upon that error, and then just being in the right place at the right time for that cross. So maybe he'll have a good game week. I mean, he's coming up against Johnson, of course, who was on my bench last week, scoring a whopping 15 points. Johnson's been in decent form, as have West Brom. Obviously, he got that assist, which you couldn't have predicted in the week before. But, I mean, Johnson's last sort of 5-6 games at 10, 2, 8, 3, 5 and 15. So, for a keeper that stayed around sort of 4.5 million, I think he still is 4.5 million this season. I mean, he is the highest, I think he's the highest scoring, maybe apart from, maybe actually Martinez started at 4.5, didn't he? Well, apart from Meslier and Martinez, he's the highest scoring 4.5 million goalkeeper that started. So that's not bad in a team that are sort of second bottom. And I think he's done quite well. The other one to mention on West Brom, of course, is Pereira, 27 points in his last 4 games. 13 shots in that time, 3 in the box, 3 big chances, obviously 2 goals, 2 assists. He and Johnson have just sort of been dragging West Brom in these last 2 fixtures, and I think it'd be an interesting game, this one, because on paper it looks like it should be a Leicester victory, but I wonder if they're just going through a mini wobble like they were at the back end of last season, and West Brom probably in the form of the season, having won by, like I say, 3 goal margins in each of the last 2 games, could be a bit of a banana skin for them.
I think West Brom should be considered not an easy fixture now, at least for the time being, while their form continues. It's like kind of a worry to start Castagna this week. I am a bit worried about that, actually, because I think they probably will concede, but the fixture on paper looks good, and I can't really not start him against West Brom at home. So, but then, like I said, the 3 after that: Palace, Southampton, Newcastle. Those look great. So the next 4, I'm 100% starting him. I think you should definitely start Leicester defenders. Their stats for defence have been really good before the last 2 weeks. So you just got to hope Rodgers has got to get back on their back, because the last 2 fixtures have been awful for them. So. They got to sort that out, and I think they probably will. I hope they do, because I like Brendan Rodgers, and I like what he's done at Leicester, and he's got quite a good group of youthful players there working together. So I'd be a bit disappointed for them if they missed out on the Champions League. I mean, they've been in the top 4 pretty much, it fean like all season, and a bit like last. Are they third? Are they?
They're third behind United, but I think they're just 1 point ahead of West Ham. I mean, for a long, they've been in the top 4 for a long time.
They could miss out, to be honest.
I mean, West Ham, Chelsea, Liverpool, I could see them slipping out and finishing like 5th or 6th. It'd be gutting, because they've been in the top 4 for months, and they were for months last season as well, and they just missed out then. But let's see. Big game for them this weekend. All right, that about wraps it up for the fixture preview. Is there anything you want to talk about that I've missed or skipped over?
Smashed out, haven't we? We missed the Manager of the Week. I don't know if you want to go back.
Let's do the Manager of the Week, because it would probably been a big week. Right, it's up on screen now.
So MWYYFC, Mac Wong YY, 83 points on his wild card. Went from 11k to 4k. Cody, Seiss, both for 6 points. Holding 8, Lingard 14, Salah 7, Nacho 13. He had Aguero captain, which
Triple
obviously got 0.
Wolves as well.
He got the vice Trent,
Oh.
a vice captain on Trent for 22 points. So there's another nail in my back for hating on Trent. But yeah, well done. Obviously went for a City punt like I did, and wish I went for that Aguero instead. So I could have got my vice points, but whatever.
Benched Kane
Well
and Son as well. What an unusual team lineup. Yeah, 5 at the back with triple Wolves. Yeah, why not? Those worked out big time. What did you say? 11k to 4 or 11k to 6 or something?
11k to 4k.
Wow, that's great. Nice work. Definitely worthy of the manager of the week. Nice one. All right. So we'll be back.
Transfers?
What was that? Sorry. Transfers.
Should we talk about our transfers?
Transfers. Oh yeah. Yours I kind of know, don't I? Let me see. It's Sterling for Son.
Sterling for Son, yeah.
And you're going to do
and
maybe
then
another.
I'll consider Alonso to a regular on, but I don't think that'll happen.
Okay.
Probably just Sterling.
I'm depending on what happens with Man City tonight and Liverpool tonight. I'm probably gonna get Salah in, because I feel like he's got more to play for than De Bruyne. So, yeah, I might just do De Bruyne straight to Salah, because I think I can just afford it. So yeah, I'll watch that tonight with interest. But to be honest, I think after doing the wildcard, the team's not too bad. I've got some absolute muck on my defence in Kilman and Davis who aren't playing. But to be honest, and Phillips as well is a bit of a risk, but I've got really bad team value, so I had to be done. Anyway, we've got 7 games of the season to squibble through, so see how we do it.
Yep.
We've got a really tight turnaround, haven't we? Because next Thursday is the 22nd and the game week ends, and then the game week again then starts the next night, doesn't it, on the 23rd?
We'll probably have to record the Wednesday or the Tuesday while it's midweek. Yeah,
that's fair enough. All right, cool. And captaincy. You've convinced me to captain Kane. I'm not going to take a risk on Son because it could fall in rank.
You've risked enough captains this year.
Flipping out, yeah.
You're finally going somewhere.
Yeah, finally going somewhere. Do you know roughly how many captaincy points you scored this season?
No, but I'm sure it's pretty bad because I've missed quite a few this year.
Yeah, I should have looked that up actually prior to the show because it's going to be boring if I look it up while we're chatting. But perhaps we'll think about that at the end of the season.
I think basically I just my captaincies have been really bad because I captained Salah way too many times, and he obviously has been on that run of blanking constantly. So yeah. Yeah. All right. That's my season.
Yeah. All right. We'll pick up with on that maybe towards the end of the season. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us. We'll be back, like we say, sometime next week while the game week's still going on to bring you a preview and update on our woes and tales of joy. So until then, it's goodbye from me.
Cheers, everyone. Good luck.
Bye.